Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Trans Talk Tuesday. I'm actually taping this the same time I've taped some previous. I'm starting to get a little warm in here, so I wanted to get this one in the can. I still have my Motivational Monday to do, but I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to do with that. And I really knew what I wanted to talk about here in transgender trans talk. So um, I decided to go ahead and make this, and then I'll go back to Monday's episode. I don't have to have it actually out until tomorrow. So, or actually till the next day. But I'll try to get it done by tomorrow. If I don't do it tonight, it's already 1 o'clock in the morning here. So I have a very important subject that I want to discuss with my trans sisters and trans brother, or everyone for that fact, whether you're cisgendered, transgendered, pangendered, bisexual, gay, lesbian, whichever description that you fit in. But the message I have is more what I want to say to those that are transgendered and are thinking about coming out, or are getting ready to come out, or have come out and are looking for guidance or inspiration or helpful understanding. And this is a um, very unique thing. And I'm going to kind of expose myself, so to speak. And the question that I have for every person viewing this is a simple question. But there's a point that I want to make to my transgender brothers and sisters out there. And the question is, when you look at me, what do you see? Do some of you see a man trying to be a woman? Do some of you look at me and see $6,000 worth of breast job? Do some of you see somebody that was blessed with the estrogen she took? Do some of you see a person finally being the woman she wants to be? When you look at me, what do you see? The point of that is everybody will see something different. Everybody will see what they choose to see. And that is an important lesson that important message I want to get out there to my trans family, my brothers and sisters that are trans. Because it's not important what the world sees, because they will see us based upon their own perceptions. And that's important. That's extremely important. Because it's extremely important that as someone that's transgender, that you're happy with what you see based on yourself and not what the world sees, because it doesn't matter. You can have all the surgeries in the world, such as Caitlyn Jenner, such as Gigi Gorgeous, Laverne Fox, all the various people, whether they're lawyers, entertainers, singers, anybody that has had surgery done. But the thing is you have to be happy with what you see and not do what you want, what you see because of the world. Because it doesn't matter what the world sees. Because they will judge you on their own perception. A classic example. I stated, I think it was in my introduction regarding my coming out when I was being transgendered. During the height of season at work, where I worked, my last job, we employ 800 people. Of those 800 people, I was using the women's restroom. Of those 800 people had a problem with it. And those 6 went each level, from their supervisors to human resources to the management of the site, all the way up the corporate ladder to the president of the company. Because every time they got an answer, they didn't like the answer. It was about them, not me, because I had done nothing to bring up the issue. And I pointed out to those people, I said, well, at what point am I female enough to use the restroom? Because I can go out and have the surgery, come back tomorrow, and those 6 people still will have a problem with it because of up here. That was evident by the fact that not once did they offer to sit down with me and discuss the issue. Because not once did they accept an answer that they did not like. They wanted to go all the way up for the company. I still ended up winning. Not in that way. Small percentage had a problem with it. And it doesn't matter if you go out, you have the surgery. There will be people that don't see you the way you want to be seen. I've had people call me an abomination. Freak. You can't do anything to change those people. Why is this important? And I'll tell you why. Because you have to like what you see back. You have to be at peace with what you see. And if you try changing yourself for the opinion of others, because you want to change their perception, that doesn't mean it's going to work. I know a woman, one of us, that had the surgeries. Had the surgeries because she felt she had to, but didn't take any opinion in what she was doing. Just went and had them, left everything up to the doctor, and self-loathed herself because are too big. Not the size that she wanted. Don't fit her brain. That's a good example of letting other people make up your mind. Yes, well, Adam's apple is not shaved. Yes, I have something between my legs. It's not cut off. Why? And this is a serious point I want to get out there. Before you go jumping into surgeries, I mean, you have to jump through enough hoops to get the surgeries. You know, you could go to 20 plastic surgeons before you find a surgeon who are willing to give you a boob job. Much less cut down there. You have to go to psychiatric evaluation for a year and then pay an arm load. Hormones. If you're not doing natural hormones, you've got to go to a doctor and blood tests and on a regular basis. And then you're dealing with the substance that, unlike natural hormones, doing it naturally, which take in what your body needs and flushes out the rest. You're taking a prescription of a non-natural occurring substance that could store estrogen. Too much estrogen could cause breast cancer. But it's important to remember that these are surgeries. You have to ask yourself, before you do the surgeries, is it right for you? A boob job you have to have done every 10 years. That is the recommended by the makers, that they need to be replaced every 10 years, otherwise they risk your health. That's great if you're 20 and 30, you want to have it done, but you need to think about the fact when you're 50, 60, 70, you still want to go through that? Do you want to go through that and put yourself at risk, because it is a surgery and there are risks with all surgeries? Even though that some people, your mindset is to change your appearance and to change perception, but the problem is, if they knew you were transgender, they're still going to judge you. People are still going to judge you. When it comes out, they're still going to judge you. If it's something you want for you, go for it. But know the risks. Understand the risks. Be willing to pay the price. Don't do it because you think it's going to change people, because it's not. Don't believe me. Look at Caitlyn Jenner. Judge left and right. Gigi. If it comes out you're transgendered, unless you're in a transgender relocation program that I don't know about, there's going to be somebody that around that knows the body you occupied, not the person you are. And they're going to judge you however their mindset is. Don't get a boob job and without giving it thought. Because like I said, every 10 years you have to redo that surgery, and as you age, your health gets worse. Don't jump into getting boobs that are, aren't the ones you want, because you think this person will like them or that person will like them, or they'll make you look more feminine, because there's back pain. There's prices to be paid. That's what I'm trying to tell you, brothers and sisters. There is a price to be paid. And it's not what you want, what you think the cost is for the result isn't going to be the cost for the result. There's still going to be people judging you. Let me remind you out there, 70% of us still have the original anatomy. And there are things you can do to change people's perception. I don't tuck, but there are things you can do. Grow out your hair. I had one person at work, had just gotten out of training class, and it happened to be Halloween. And I was already out, or gone public, as I prefer. I'd already gone public, and but she didn't know me, and ever walked by my section, and I dressed up as I called it the evil step grandmother, and what she said was kind of insulting, but she was in her 60s, 70s, so her era, she didn't realize what she was saying was offensive, and she sat down next to me, and I'm clicking away at my keyboard, and I'm talking, because I was in a call center, and she looked at me, she goes, "I thought you were a woman until you spoke." There are things we can do without going to be extreme. But you have to realize, if you go to that extreme, it's not going to change everybody. It's not going to change the weight either, or future repercussions, if you will. Let me tell you a story about a transgender I know, or knew. Haven't talked to him in years, but this transgender suffered from, I guess, from the dysphoria. Same one that breasts were Okay. Had the surgery. I don't know. It was, when I knew them, it'd probably been 20 years. Maybe not that long. Could have been. No, wouldn't have been that long. Excuse me. Okay. So, had the surgery. Say it'd been about 15 years, and this was early. This was when surgery was probably a fairly new thing. It wasn't the norm. Luckily worked for the government, so the government, had the protections there. Not really, because the protections didn't get started until Obama. There really weren't protections, but luckily the government, the place where she was working was stood by her. Okay. Loathing, her body wasn't the body she wanted with the surgery, but had the surgery. I don't know if it was for dysphoria or not, but had the surgery. Had been living quite some time as herself. Has this best friend. Best friend and her do everything together. We spent a lot of time together. She'd come over, stay overnight. They'd go camping trips. They'd do things together. This person gradually falls in love with this woman. What do you do then? See, the sad part about the tale is the woman she fell in love with didn't see her, the transgender, in the same light. She knew she was transgender, had known, but didn't feel the same way about her because she was cisgendered. That's the way she was wired. This upset the trans so much that she was talking about all of a sudden for 10, 15 years, all of a sudden what she'd been living became a mistake. Should have never had the surgery. Want to go back. Something to think about before you have the surgery. On top of that, even having the surgery, eventually it's going to come out to the person you're with. It's going to affect relationship. Could. As soon as you say, I used to be man, woman, but this is who I am, takes on a whole nother light. It doesn't matter if you've had the whole surgery. It's still going to come to light. It's still going to affect them. Affect the way that they think about you or others think about you. And if you guys are in the same circles, eventually it's going to get out. And people are still going to have in their mindset whatever they choose to perceive you as. And that's why it's important to understand. How you look is not going to change people's perceptions as much as you want it to. Not the inner circle that knows you. You can. You can appear female You can be 100% female through surgery, but people are still going to perceive you. Not necessarily you want to be perceived. You don't have to have the surgery to pass. You can take voice lessons. Quite honestly, what you have down there is only going to matter to the person that you're with. Nobody else's business. What you have, your reproductive organs should not determine who you are. If you have the dysphoria, yeah, get the surgery. But understand, who you are is not determined by your reproductive systems. That's the problem. And I know there's probably people that I'm going to offend with this, but that's the problem with the cisgendered people. They determine your sex based upon your reproductive organs, but your reproductive organs do not make the man or woman who she or he is. I want to give you that to think about and keep in mind. You don't have to have surgery. Yes, it can help you, but it's not going to change opinions. I can go out and pass for female pretty much anywhere I go until I speak. But it doesn't matter, because even if I speak, people are going to perceive me however they choose to. Those that knew me as a man, some are going to choose to associate with me as a man. Those who know me as transgender are either going to perceive me as a man or perceive me as a woman. Doesn't matter whether I've had 110% surgery. A lot of risks in doing surgery. Don't let your reproductive organ decide whether you have surgery or not, because you don't have to. You don't have to go through all the pain. Like I said, dysphoria is a different situation. But understand, 70% of us can't afford it. What do you see when you look at me? The thing is, brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter. Women have been fooling men for years, and vice versa. I know an A cup that looks like a C cup because of the type of bra she wears. They have padded bras, they have boosted bras, we have all kinds of bras. Waist trainers, girdles, butt enhancers, hair extensions, fake eyelashes, Botox. Men are no better. How many men suck their gut in when a pretty girl walks by? Tell me a man in a beard that has a thing for a cute girl that wouldn't shave off his beard if she said it was too scratchy. Men will wear extra tight shirts to try to show their muscles. They'll suck in the gut, pretty girl walks by. You know? Woman with no breast complains that they're not big enough. A woman with big breasts complains that they're small enough. Be happy with your body. before you decide to spend thousands of dollars on surgery. People are going to see what they see. Unfortunately, we're a society that bases it on physical impressions. But you know what? Somebody that's judging you by how you look and not who you are is not somebody you need to be around. You can do things to help without taking drastic measures. Like I said, what do you see when you see me? When you look at me? Some of it is physical. Some of it is perception. The point that I'm making, you can make yourself look female without drastic measures, brothers and sisters. Just like brothers, you can make yourself look male. You know, you have the binder. You don't have to go through drastic measures. Like I said, brothers and sisters, what do you see when you look at me? Am I a man dressed as a woman? Am I a woman that spent $6,000 on some nice enhancement? Or is it that my estrogen worked real well? Am I finally the woman that I was meant to be? Reality? I don't know who I am. One thing though, sisters. What you see is not necessarily what is. The prosthetic device used for women that have had to have mastectomies because of breast cancer. About $300 from a company called Jen's Closet. Why? Want the appearance, but I'm not going to have them replaced every 10 years. My health wouldn't do it. I don't want to live to be 60 or 70. Yes, I have some development, but not much. Excuse me. Yes, I exposed myself. My health is not at risk because of something being inside my chest. In 10 years, I will not have to have something taken out. My life won't be at risk. To the public, I appear female when I wear. I do it not so much for public view. Well, not so much for public opinion, but so that at first glance they get whatever impression they want, whether it be from a distance or close up. It's what they expect. They expect to see a woman with boobs, so I give it to them. But not at a cost to me. Not at $6,000. A big $300. That's my point, brothers and sisters. Oops. Can't set them up just quite right because I'd have to disrobe, and that might be against YouTube. Hell, what I just showed could be against YouTube. I don't know. The point is, brothers and sisters, the world will see what they choose to. But unless you're going to feel me out, as the public, you're not going to know. You're not going to feel me up. It's none of your business. What I have up here, or what I have down there. And considering Anna Jay is the only sexual partner that I intend to have, probably the rest of my life, because of it being so hard, being transgender. Nobody's business. Let them think what they want. How much of this video did you think that I had? $6,000 boob job. $6,000 boob job. Guess what? We bring in maybe 12,000, 12 to 15,000 a year. Can't afford a $6,000 boob job. Most of us brothers and sisters can't. But there are options. You worry about the size of your chest, there's other options. Whether it be hormones, and hormones a lot easier route than, cheaper route than surgery. If you can find a plastic surgeon in your area, you may have to travel. But you don't have to deal with the surgeon and the questions. And the world will think, maybe you're that size. But, you know, the thing about doing it just hormone-wise is you're usually a cup size smaller than your female family members. You have to keep that in mind. So if your mom was a C, you're going to be a B. If your mom was a B, you're going to be an A. Also, keep in mind, it takes a woman puberty to last 7 years, and that's without having to fight estrogen. It's going to take you at least that long. I'm on 2 or 3, so mine could still grow. So rather than enhancing and having to continue to grow, I got them for the size I want. Doesn't matter. People are going to perceive however they choose to perceive. But unless you, worst case scenario, you'll have a female ask if they're going to touch, if they can feel. It's pretty real to me. There's different kinds you can get too. You don't have to get just this kind. There's some that you can sleep in. Where all the time. Though it does good to take them off for a little bit so that you can breathe. I've got it. They got that one. That size. You know. World still sees boobs. Doesn't matter. Surgery, non-surgery, doesn't matter. World sees boobs. But world will still judge you based upon their perception. I'm sure I had some of you thinking I had a nice $6,000 boob job. And that's my point. You don't have to take drastic measures. Surgery is not for everyone, and most of us can't afford it. But there are things you can do. But it still doesn't matter. People will perceive us however they envision us. To some, we're Satan's spawns. To others, we're women. It just matters on the person's perception. Worry about your parents. Get electrolysis. Something I can't afford. Gets the hair off. I have no running water. My poor legs haven't been shaved in about a month and a half. Also beats having to shave your arms and shave your chest. The face. Get laser, get some form of hair removal. Do the little things before you do the big things. and decide if the big things really are worth doing that way, or if there's another way, another option. What do you see when you see me? Guess what? Doesn't matter. As long as I'm happy with what I see in the mirror and with who I am inside, that's all that matters. Don't take drastic measures to please the world. If you take drastic measures, do it to please yourself. And know that there are other options besides taking drastic measures. That is my message today on Trans Talk. Regardless of whether you're trans, pan, cis, bi, gay, lesbian, whatever your choice, or whoever you are, take care of yourselves. And we'll see you here next week on Trans Talk.